Hey everyone, welcome back. So today we are diving into something really useful in Python object-oriented programming, which is abstract classes. So think of them as templates for your other classes. They define what a class should do but not how to do it. So let's take an example to understand this. So let's say you're working with shapes like circles and rectangles, and all shapes should have an area method, but the formula for each shape is different. So instead of leaving it to chance, we can create an abstract class that will force all shapes to implement their own area method. So you can also think of an abstract class like a job posting, right? So let's say it says that you must be able to do any XYZ task, but it doesn't say how you should do it. So each hired person, or you can say subclass, must provide their own way of completing the task, but it is mandatory to complete the task. So here as well, we know that we have to calculate the area of rectangle and circle, which would be the subclasses, but we also want to make it mandatory so the implementation is not incomplete. And so that is why we will create an abstract class and we'll define the template as in all the subclasses should have an area method, but we will not implement the formula or how it has to be calculated in the abstract class itself. So the definition will go here, but the implementation will be inside the subclasses. So let's move to code now. And in order to get started with abstract classes, we need to import ABC module. Here ABC stands for abstract base class, and from here we will import ABC and also abstract method. Now let's see how to create an abstract class. So you'll give the keyword as class, and let's say I want to name this abstract class as shape, but then we would have to inherit this from the ABC class. And let's define a method in this class. So I'll call it as area self, and then we'll just write pass. And also because I want this method to be implemented in all the subclasses, so I will mark this as abstract method. So here we defined a class shape that inherits from class ABC, and we mark the area method with abstract method annotation. So this means that any class that inherits from shape class must implement its own area method. So let's go ahead and create a subclass. So let's say class, and let's create a class as circle, and then we have to inherit from this parent class. Let's create the constructor. We'll define the dunder method here. I'll pass in self, and for circle we need radius in order to calculate the area. Let's do the assignment. Self.radius is equals to radius. And now we must implement the area method because this is tagged as abstract method. So we'll implement the area method here. I'll pass self, and let's return, and the formula to calculate the area of a circle is pi r square. So the value of pi multiplied by self.radius and then square 2. And similarly, let's go ahead and create another subclass, rectangle. We'll again inherit from shape, and because we are inheriting from shape, we have to implement the area method. But before that, let's go ahead and define the constructor. So we'll take width and height, and we'll return we have to do the assignment here, and then we'll assign self.width is equals to width and self.height is equals to height. Now we'll implement the area method because we have inherited from the shape class, so we have to implement the area method. And let's return the area, so width into height. Alright, so we have an abstract class here, and we have defined two subclasses, and we have implemented the area method that we were supposed to do because area is tagged as an abstract method. Now let's go ahead and create the object. So let's create for circle first. So I'll call circle. Let's give a radius. So I'll give the radius as 2, and let's also print it. So you have to call the area method. So C dot and then the area method of C. Now if I save and run this, we got the output. And similarly, we can also create object for the other class, which is rectangle. So let's create another one, and here I'll call rectangle, and we have to pass width and height. So let's give it as 4 and 4, and to print the area of rectangle, r dot area. And we got the output for rectangle area. But let's say if you have one more subclass, so let me define one more subclass as triangle. We'll inherit from the shape class here as well, and I'll just type in pass. Now what happens if I try to create an object with this? T is equals to triangle, and if I just try to run this, let's see what happens. So you see we got a type error for this. It says that can't instantiate abstract class triangle with abstract method area. So that is why whatever method is tagged with abstract method annotation, you have to implement that method in your subclass. So that's it for the session. That's how you write abstract classes. So let's recap real quick. So we use abstract classes to define a common interface, and then we use abstract method annotation to force subclasses to implement the required methods, and this keeps your code organized, consistent, and scalable. So that's it for now, and I'll see you in the next one.